Thank you so much for joining us on the first episode of Collective Imagination, a D&D actual play podcast that takes place entirely in our collective imagination. I'm Paco, the Dungeon Master, producer, and editor. For the next 3 episodes, you are going to be introduced to 2 members of the Copper Guard at a time. Who is the Copper Guard? Well, it's our group of heroes, the adventuring crew that travels the land of Seville in hopes to inflict their heroism on the world. Inflict sounds like a bad way to explain that. Gift their heroism to the world. First and foremost, we want to introduce you to the character of Fearne, played by Anuhea Park. Fearne is a deceptively old and wise druid of the Tormund Gully. Though she's largely been a recluse for years, we join her as she's just setting out on her first adventure in a long time. In the southern nation of Argent is a town called Raven's Perch. It's a town that sees many vagabonds and passerbys, but rarely does it see anyone who stays. Though there are a few that have made Raven's Perch their home, it's not common that it stays that way for them. At some point or another, people move on to bigger and better things. We follow outside of the town, over bending streams and lush surrounding forests. Vibrant flora and arcane fauna alike are strewn atop the forest floor, and we key in on a small cabin. Everything within is well kept, situated, and there's an air of lives well lived decorating the humble home, but there is no one within. Instead, just outside the front door, someone turns a key and locks the cabin entrance. Anu, you could please describe Fearne, as well as just what's her mental state on this day.
Well, Fearne is a half-elf.
Mm-hmm.
She has this creamy, fair skin, dark brown hair that's pulled back in areas close to her face, but seems to sort of effortlessly fall. It's long, falls near her waist, well kept, but sort of natural. Her eyes are very sparkly from a distance, but as you get closer, you see that they're actually emerald green.
Mm-hmm.
The corners of her mouth are always sort of in this gentle smile, even when she's sad.
Is she sad on a day such as this?
Well, she seems resolute,
Mm-hmm.
purposeful, with this sort of determination that everything will be beautiful and amazing simply because she wants it to be.
And I think just in response to that positive determination, you kind of hear the tweeting and flitter of birds throughout the trees. You feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin. It's the first sunlight since the passing of winter just a few weeks ago.
And for Fearne, that's definitely a good omen. She takes all of it as a sign that things are going to go her way.
So as she leaves behind the cabin, walks throughout the forest, every so often there's a traveler headed the other direction, and typically after a couple hours the travelers get more and more common, usually signaling that you're nearing Raven's Perch, the humble farm town where tradesmen and merchants alike all pass to and fro. But you're not stopping in Raven's Perch, because as far as Fearne is concerned, it's a place that has been home for a good long while.
Been there, done that. She needs new horizons.
Exactly. And so instead, you continue heading just a little bit north. Eventually, the sun sets. Do you continue to travel throughout night, or are you making up camp?
She's going to stop.
What is the camp setup?
So she has her pack with her, obviously. She pulls out what appears to be a large piece of thick fabric. And you think it would be much heavier, but she was able to handle it perfectly fine. And she finds an area that has enough twisted branches and leaning trees and things like that.
Yeah.
And she uses this canvas to make sort of this little tented area. She cleans up the forest floor, sweeping the dirt and the leaves into the proper place, just clearing a small area. And then she goes and she picks before she fully settles down to do the essentials like build a fire and things like that. She decides that the canvas just really isn't cute enough. So she goes and she gathers flowers and vines and she decides to use them to decorate the camp, because if you go anywhere and you stay anywhere, you might as well make it nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in this self-honoring ritual, you encounter a lot of like the wildlife along the way, all signaling more and more good omens. There's an owl, you know, over atop on a low-hanging branch who's just kind of quizzically staring as you gather flowers here and there. Even as you rest up against this tree with this campsite perfectly manicured, you see a couple beautiful edible, if you'd prefer, toadstool. Are toadstools edible? Who knows? They're magical,
In this
otherworldly.
world, they are.
I don't know mushrooms, but there's a couple, like a little patch of, oh, you know what? Chicken of the woods, I think, is like the really good, like edible
it's
one.
supposed to taste like chicken.
It's supposed to taste like chicken, yeah. So something along the lines, but it's shaped like a whimsical toadstool. And Fearne would know it to be edible.
Yes.
I'm harping too much on these mushrooms.
If Fearne knows anything, it's mushrooms.
Yeah.
So she identifies edible mushrooms. And then the ones that aren't, she just pockets them for later.
But I'd say it's in the middle of the night as you kind of rustle awake in your very nice, well-decorated campsite. There's a little bit of a rustling, like in your knapsack, as kind of poking out, pulling something. You see two little pixies just kind of having a little bit of mischief and fun.
Well, hello.
They kind of squeak a little bit and look up at you. Pixies aren't known to be talkative or kind. Instead, kind of blow a raspberry in your face and continue digging throughout your pack.
Did you need something in there?
They poke their head up again and pull out some kind of like granolas and rations that you've brought for yourself along this journey.
I mean, no offense, but wouldn't that hurt you if you ate it? Well, because you're so little.
In understanding curiosity, kind of reach their mouth towards it just to try a little bit.
Well, you obviously can have some, but just don't eat too much. I'm afraid you'll actually hurt yourself.
They tilt their head in response, and instead of taking the whole thing as they were intending, they kind of break off two small pieces for the two of them and start to like
That's
back
a bit
away.
much, don't you think?
They break their pieces in half one more time, leaving what is essentially crumbs for you, you know? But they like kind of like slowly fly and back away.
Well, bye.
And another raspberry blown at you, and they flitter off. But it is just about maybe an hour or so before the sun rises, and as you get started on another day, packing up your camp, leaving everything in a nice clearing as it once was before you found it, it's a bit more of traveling before you reach your first settlement north of Raven's Perch. A settlement that you can already feel is in a bit more of a social disarray than it ought to be. Being in the area, you know Bastionfell. Bastionfell is where the Bastion fell. It was a giant ship that was sailing through the river. As the story goes, it was wrongfully torn asunder by a group of roving adventurers. But over its husk, a group of goblin and other monstrous folk have kind of made it into their little society where they can live not among, but near and by the human folk.
Wow. This place is just incredible.
I'd say as you're kind of standing along the edge of the settlement, walking in, you're able to notice that the people aren't as welcoming, but not out of rudeness. They seem to be talking amongst each other about something that, even from a distance, looks way heavy on their conscience.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Do you live here?
Yes, I'm one of a few.
Cool.
We'll say it's one of the goblin folk.
This place is so interesting.
Thank you.
Wait, what's your name? I'm sorry. My name is Fearne.
Kurt.
What kind of name is that?
Goblin.
Oh, of course. Right. Sorry.
Simple names.
Well, it's lovely, Kurt.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I was wondering, do you have any paint around here?
We're not really one for artistry. I mean, we have paint as we deem it necessary for marking some important structures, but I don't know if anything that you're looking for.
Oh, okay. Is there any place to eat?
If you need food, I'm sure someone can help pull something together, but no official establishments.
Oh, wow. Is there like a tavern or something?
Hold on. Let me get somebody to help you.
Okay,
and he kind of runs off shouting, Joseph, there's somebody here. Kind of walking out. Is a bit taller, a bit brawnier of a goblin. He's got a bandana on because I see Matt has something that looks like a bandana over in the corner, and so I'm just saying it. It's improv.
Oh my gosh, Joey, can I just say
Sorry, no, not Joey. Joey's
sorry.
for friends and confidants.
Oh, my bad. Joseph.
Yes.
First of all, love your bandana.
Thank you.
So cute.
Thank you. It's functional.
Because of all your hair.
No, I'm sweating.
Oh, of course. That's a great invention. Do you have food?
Yeah, sure. You're just kind of passing
I'll
through.
pay for the food.
Okay, yeah. In that case, come on.
Okay. Well,
we're just getting lunch done, and if you're helping out with groceries or monetarily, then
okay, yeah. As I'm helping out, what am I? Of course.
He kind of leads you over to his abode, where there is a smell of something interesting going on. But as you enter in, you see that him and his wife are not the only ones there. There's another family, humans, one with kind of red hair, a bit sun-tanned from days working in the fields as a farmer, and his wife, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, a bit freckled, and they just seem to not be doing too well in an emotional state. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind. Y'all aren't the only company joining us today. And the husband speaks up and says, "Oh, please, no, by no means. A traveler. We're happy to have you."
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me stop in. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not usually this awkward. Is everything okay?
Joseph kind of like looks around with a nod to everybody, says, "We're just under some hard times right now."
Oh gosh. And you guys still let me come here to eat food?
Yeah, I mean, it's not up to us to turn up our nose on who needs hospitality just because we need hospitality.
Wow. You guys are so nice.
But yeah, there was some robed figures who kind of ran into town and ran off with some of our children.
What?
Yeah, they looked like they were headed a little more south, but we're not in a position to leave our town defenseless. And
oh my gosh! Wait, back up. Did you know these robed people?
No.
Things?
I think that's one of the prerequisites of a kidnapping is I didn't know them and they kind of took my kid and also their kid, Granton.
Did you know them? She references the other couple.
They shake their head like, no.
No one knows them. Was it just an opportunistic thing? Like they saw them walking by themselves one day and just snatched them?
Well, no.
Was there a ransom?
No.
Then what would they be doing with them?
That's what we're kind of discerning.
No one went out to look?
Well, we're kind of in the middle of rebuilding ourselves, and I'm kind of trying to put together a bit of a search party, but...
Okay, no offense. When did this happen? I don't mean to cause more chaos, but when did this happen, and what is earlier?
Over last night.
Last night. Okay, so you guys are in shock.
A little bit.
Okay. All right.
As I said, I'm getting ready to head on out on my own. We're just still trying to figure out who's lost.
Oh my gosh.
What are the details of this?
Oh, you poor things. All right. Can I help you? I know you don't know me at all. I'm super hungry and I will need to eat something at some point, but I want to help you because if I know anything from all of the true crime literature that I've read,
a lot of those published around here.
The first 24 hours are the most important in the case of a missing person. So we need to move quickly because a lot of time has already passed here from what you said. And it's morning, but still hours have gone by. So I need to eat something, okay? Or else I will be hangry and I will be helpful to no one. However, I'm just thinking here. I'm sort of free at the moment to roam. You guys seem a little bit more tied up. And again, I know you barely know me, but would you trust me to sort of lead the charge here?
Sure. I just don't think we have much of a choice anyways. It's not like we're equipped to take on magic users and people with swords.
Is anyone really?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at a certain point you just got to choose to do. And I think I have less holding me back than you folks right now. So I can fully help, but please, I need to eat something.
Yes, please. I mean, it's why we brought you here in the first place, not to burden you with our problems.
No, and it's not a burden. Listen, it makes sense. Besides, you guys have no paint here and I ran out of pigment anyways. There's nothing better for me to do. Might as well just help, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So what are we eating? Because I'm going to have to scarf this really fast.
It's a really good mushroom stew. You can kind of see poking out of it. There's it looks like a toadstool, but it definitely tastes like chicken of the forest.
Is this a mushroom stew?
Yeah, we foraged it outside of the settlement.
This is a good sign, my friends. We are finding those kids sooner rather than later.
The second member of the Copper Guard we'd like to introduce you to is Zorvann, played by Austin Chong Tim. Zorvann is a dark elf, one of the ancient races that have been long infected by dark magic. Let's meet him now.
Night and day wrestle upon the skies over the holy city of Half-Light, a city that has stood for ages, holding at bay the dark plague of the Shadowlands. This city is a testament to both the Paragon's power and providence, and is a memory of the wars that came before. There's a figure dashing along the Cassadan court, a stack of books in tow. His white and cerulean robes catch the attention of scholars and philosophers, all competing in volume with one another as their students sit enraptured by their ancient knowledge. This figure walks with such intention, paying no mind to the quiet arrogance of all of the court teachers. He strides across, up towards a large open-air temple, and above this temple, the line of Half-Light sky perfectly marks night and day. On the side of the line that sports daylight, this robed figure takes his seat. He looks over at the seat on the night side of the line, and Austin, please describe the seated figure that your classmate sees.
Zorvann is a 5.5 foot tall dark elf. He has long white hair, relatively broad shoulders. His eye color is actually quite interesting. One is red, the other is blue.
So he's hot.
Yeah, he's a pretty good looking lad.
And likewise, as your classmate takes their seats, they've got a similar white hair, but they're a half elf, except half of their face is kind of scarred and a bit disfigured in points. But he gives you a nod, looks up and tries to speak, saying, forgive my tardiness, father. I was caught up, but he's interrupted just by a very gentle hand. That of a very elderly high elf, which is an uncommon sight, given that elves live for centuries and are not even touched by age. But this gentleman, who you know as your teacher, Lanthos, says, No need for apologies. Where there is still light, there is still time. And he looks over at you, Zorvann. Today, we are continuing discussing the Godhood War. The final battle specifically, the Battle of Moonfall. One that I'd figured you at least would have some interest in, Zorvann, so I expect you perked up for this lesson.
Master, when are we going to learn some actual magic?
Make no mistake, the history gives you such a greater respect for the magic that you wield.
I'm like a dog with my tail through my legs right now, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's a good 2 to 3 hours of lecture about this subject, the Battle of Moonfall. Make a history check. Let's do it. Maybe we'll have a lore drop in one of these backstories. Who knows?
That's a 19.
Okay. With a 19, that comment that he said, or it's something that you specifically might be interested in. The Battle of Moonfall pertains to when an evil archmage used theurgy, powerful magic, to bring one of the 2 moons crashing down onto the land. It just spread like shadows. The city of Halflight was created to halt the shadows, almost acting like a barrier, keeping it in. His comment is specifically because you as a dark elf, that Shadowland was like the last of the above world before dark elves were forced underground. But he continues on with this lesson. It takes a good couple hours, and he can kind of see the waning interest in both you and your classmate. Okay, I assume to some degree that I'm losing you, so Zorvann, magic it is. Get up, and as both of you kind of kick your seats off to the side, looking at each other, your teacher, Lanthos, continues on. It's going to be fair. It's going to be specifically on the magic of your domain. I need you to focus in on that which matters most to you, your connections to the paragons themselves, and let's see what you can do. Roll initiative.
10.
With a 10, you kind of look over at Lanthos, who's kind of shuffling to grab himself a seat, but you're a bit preoccupied when you realize that he had already started the match, because as you look back at your classmate, there's a bolt of light that is already coming your way and hits you up in the shoulder for some moderate amount of pain, but you feel a glow just kind of on your person. We're not going to monitor damage or anything like this because you're not going to die. It's your backstory. But with him getting the drop on you, what do you do?
I immediately lose my footing, and as I'm down on the floor, before he can cast another spell, I start channeling something while I'm on the floor to disguise a guiding bolt right back at him.
Nice. Roll for it.
14.
With a bit of subterfuge mixed into it, start to channel some of your magic, pulling upon the power of the paragons themselves. And as it forms in your hand, you feel its warmth for a brief second before you send it flying right back at him. It knocks him in the gut, pushes him back just a few feet or so. Dust kind of drags along the ground. He nearly loses his footing, but he has already started chanting of his own to return a spell your way. It trades back and forth like this for a while, as you mostly stay on your own sides. But there comes a point in which he almost gets you off enough to push you into the side of the light, which for someone like you is where the real danger comes. But he speaks up. Such strength. It's a shame if it's only confined to the half of the day when the sun is not up.
It's a curse of my heritage. What else am I supposed to do?
Find a way to move beyond? And he sends another bolt your way. I know this isn't how combat actually works, but why don't you roll a dexterity check?
That's an 8.
You try to jump out of the way, but he, foreseeing your motions, seeing you jump away from the light, corrects before he casts the spell and knocks you out in the middle of the air. As you kind of fall back, prone on your side, Your teacher raises his hand up in a very slow and deliberate motion once more. That'll be enough of that. You've done well for yourselves today, Alphonse. It's coming along nicely. But I do hope you'd regard your classmate with more kindness. Your classmate, Alphonse, just kind of looks down. Yes, Father. Lanthos looks over at you. Zorvann will find a way to overcome. Don't preoccupy yourself with that which you cannot do, because even for a dark elf, he starts to kind of say it in a way that you have already known and understand. He says, where there is still light, there is still time.
Thank you for your kindness, Master.
And thank you for your willingness to learn. After this day, this back and forth of lessons, of fights, of training, of whatever comes along with a day at the temples of Half-Light, evening eventually falls, but you continue on into your quarters, plagued with thoughts and understandings of the day. What does Zorvann's quarters in this temple look like?
Zorvann lives in a relatively small, humble room, very modest. There's a single shelf with very few belongings. When he came to this place, this city, he had nothing. It's just the clothes on his back.
Night continues to peek through the window. As with many lessons that Lanthos teaches, there's just equal measures of knowledge and ramblings from eons past, as well as completely esoteric, almost to the point of like not even understandable platitudes that you could tell lost their meaning like centuries ago. As you're kind of sorting through what knowledge is worth keeping and what knowledge is worth leaving behind, a couple hours passes before it's well into the night itself, and you hear a bump from down the hall.
I shuffle out of my bed and slowly walk to the door. I pry it open ever so slightly to see if I can see anything.
Make a perception check.
22.
As you pry the door open, just even a crack before the door starts to creak, you see the body of Lanthos up against one corner of the room on the floor, clutching at a bloody wound in his chest. He kind of looks up at you, his eyes widen for a moment before he points, not at you, but at something right behind you. Let's roll initiative once more.
It's a 5 for me. Feels bad.
You feel like the hardest punch in the world in your back, but not a punch, as it goes cold for a split second. And as the knife is removed from your back,
I'm going to channel a guiding bolt just blindly in back of me to hopes that I can get off whatever is there.
as the knife is pulled from your back, instinctually you go back reaching into the light, the divine light of the Paragons. And as you pull it forward, the light that illuminates the room around you, you already see this figure running, but it's an unmistakable silvery white hair and lavender skin of a dark elf. You let the guiding bolt off. It hits the stone wall, kicks up pebbles and dust as this dark elf manages to escape. You hear the coughing of blood from behind you as Lanthos is still laying in the corner. What do you do?
I run over to Lanthos. Master!
No.
Can you be healed?
If the spirit is willing. But this spirit has lived far too long. And perhaps the light is out for me, but it is not for you.
Please, Master, you're the only one that accepted me here. I don't know what I'll do without you.
You will find a way to overcome. And he points over in the opposite corner as the staff that he's always carried with him. Where there is still light, there is still time. And as that fades out, you see the light leave his eyes. You hear footsteps coming up down the hall, but you still have some time. What do you do?
They'll think that I did this. They're going to blame me for this. I quickly grab Lantho's staff and I run in the opposite direction.
As you run down the hall, you hear Zorvann, and you continue to run. Eventually, as you're cresting the corner, you hear the creaking of the door into Lanthos' room as a scream, an alert, is let out through the temple. It's a while, but you eventually make it out of the city.
And that's it for our first episode. We met the druid Fearne as well as the cleric Zorvann. Join us next time as we continue to get to know the members of the Copper Guard. I know it's only episode 1, but we actually wanted to give a shout out to Tabletop Oahu. They're having their first convention this weekend. We are going to be there because we love tabletop games so much. But also more than that, we're doing a bit of a celebration with episode 1 having just dropped. So you can find us on our victory lap at Tabletop Oahu this weekend. It's November 30th and December 1st at the Hawaii Convention Center. Online registration is closed at this time, but you can register at the door. If you are in Hawaii and you love tabletop games as much as we do, or maybe you're just curious about them, head over to the Hawaii Convention Center for Tabletop Oahu 2024. And hey, join us on Patreon as well. There's a lengthier version of this episode, which includes us reacting to these backstories for the first time, as well as some questions that we had for each other. It's available on Patreon at Our Collective Imagination. That's OUR Collective Imagination. $5 a month, and you become a Silver Knight, the elite squadron of soldiers who support this podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Our Collective Imagination there as well. This podcast is created and distributed by Indie Union Presents and is produced and edited by me. Music and sound design by Monument Studios and creators on Upbeat. All elements have been licensed for use by this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.